Lord, I pray that our decisions will be made in accordance to your will, Lord. I pray that no matter what, though, our faith is always found in you and your Son, Jesus Christ. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Righty. We are all present. And so our first order of business is minutes approval from December 17th, 2024. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All righty. Didn't see it on here, but I didn't see any public comments. Anybody want to speak? Okay, thank you. All righty. On to our codes report.
Good evening. Anybody have any questions about what you have? So since our last meeting, we discussed our new software. Throughout December, we had some people we picked as guinea pigs to help us with that. And, we've since last week, I posted it live on the website, the link, so you can now make online permit applications for your residential homes, which is a big help. City schools tax can also do that online, so anyone that needs to go get a permit in the city can just go online for the schools tax portion of it. Hopefully make things easier. We still making adjustments, still new software, so as we go along, we make adjustments as we learn new things about the software. But it really helps with our procedures and keeps us in a steady workflow.
Yeah, I know I've asked this before, and I just want to just clarify, because we see a significant difference between the school facility tax from 23 to 24. And
Yeah.
just to correct me, is that because of they have that full year to pay and there's just some delays in getting that in?
Both that and it does not fall in line with permitting. It's not, every permit does not come with schools tax. And then you also have permits that are issued in the city that are tied to our schools tax. So depends on what type of development's happening in the city. That can either spike or go down. We're pretty steady now. Over the past couple of years, we've worked to make sure everybody's up to date on their payments. So that's also been something that's kind of had an ebb and flow with our collections. But yeah, it varies based on if people are deferring it, if there's more houses being built, if there's bigger houses being built. So we've kind of had a trend for really large square footage homes. And it's kind of backing off a little bit. They're not quite as big as they once were. There for a few years, we had some really large heated and cooled square footage homes, and that impacts it as well.
Any other questions? Thank you so much. All righty. We have our planning and zoning report. I think you have that in your packet. And I know he's continuing to work on our long-term plan, and I think he's had some actions starting to break loose there.
We're trying. That's been company bid service.
Any other questions there? All right. IT report.
So I emailed you a copy of my report today. It's a PDF. Pull it up on your cell phone or print it off. Basically, it's just an update. And if you have any questions about those, feel free to call me. They're all on schedule. I updated the status of those today for you. I can tell you that the courthouse exterior lighting project, that the materials have been delivered. The owner's rep is working through the scheduling for the electrical upgrades of the building, which will have to take place in order to mount those permanently and fix those here for the building. We have some security cameras being installed at the EMA and access controls. That project's been scheduled. We've got some jail systems that are being upgraded. Purchase order has been cut for that as well. We're working with installers on that project also, updating some equipment that's getting older, needing replacement. We have also been interviewing for a position in our department. We had an employee that left us after a few years. He was great. He really contributed a lot to our program. And I'd like to take the time to just recognize AJ Vanderpool, great asset to us. He's a veteran, and he's taken a position with the Board of Education. He's going to be the Gear Up coordinator for Cascade Middle School. So we're proud of him. Really, really excited. He accomplished some education objectives while he was here, and he was able to move forward, and pursue his dream to be a teacher. But mainly, I think he really wants to coach football, and I think he's going to be an asset to Cascade Middle School. So we just want to say thank you to him, and we'll have an employee hired by the end.
I know AJ, and he was a definite asset, but I think he's living out his dream now. So, thank you for that report. Any questions for IT? Thank you, John.
Thank you.
All right, fire department.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have anything. And if I may, I'd like to take an opportunity just to make a public safety announcement. Is during these cold, extreme temperatures that we're experiencing, we just want people to be careful and I see out there. And people are doing the best they can do, but just be careful with these portable heaters, wood burning stoves, whatever method, heating pads. We've seen people that open up their ovens and using them as heaters. You know, they're doing what they can to survive, but we've got to be careful. It's kind of sad that in the state of Tennessee, that's death rate across the United States, and that's sad. When we'll give out free smoke detectors. All you have to do is call the fire department, your local fire department, anywhere in the state of Tennessee, or call the fire marshal's office. They'll schedule us, the fire department, or the Red Cross to come out and install these. And it's very important because that's a cheap life insurance policy. It's free and it can save your life. So just, no extension cords on these portable heaters and people, I understand they want to keep their pets warm, farm animals, horses, their water troughs in their stalls. They try to keep them from freezing and stuff, and they go to extreme measures to do that. But we've got to be careful and vigilant of how we do this. And if they got any questions, I'm more than happy to call the fire department. I know, Sheriff's Department, EMA, all of us see it. EMS, we all see it. So,
And what is your non-emergency line?
our non-emergency is 931-684-9223. And nothing else, call 911, and ask them, we want to get to you before you have a problem. Got any questions, I don't want to go into a long thing, about it, but we've done radio shows and it's all over Facebook, and not everybody gets social media. I understand that is too, but be careful,
Thank you for that. I think that's absolutely vital information, and thank you for that and your report. All righty. E911 report you have enclosed. Media GIS.
Not much to add to the written report, other than, of course, when we had our snow event, I was, trying to keep the word out there about closures and things like that. And we were able to set up a sort of a special weather page on the website that existed during that event. And other than that, the report's kind of self-explanatory. Any questions?
Thank you. All righty. County building project.
Yeah, I think you should have had it, the general information in your report. As you can see, there's a lot of things going on. I'll just draw attention to probably the two things that we need to make sure that we keep our eye on, and we're working on this now, and we'll give you more information when we have it. But we're studying right now to figure out what the impact of adding morgue services within the surplus building, what that would take and involve and entail. And so architects are working on that now, trying to figure out how to deal with it and what it would look like to value engineer it into something we could do. So that'll certainly be come back for conversation and would ultimately wind up to the commission if there has to be a correction or a change there. Same thing with juvenile facility. Apparently the state of Tennessee since 2021 has changed the rules again on the standards. So we're looking again at how that is affected. The architects, the engineers are involved reviewing that, and again to value engineer it to see what that impact would look. Hopefully by next month we'll have an idea of what we're dealing with there. So we'll keep you up to date on that whenever we get to that point as well.
Yep.
On the tree or the grounds, we were getting quotes because the price was fluctuating. We weren't sure exactly what it's going to cost. We still don't know exactly that number, but it become apparent after having a couple of different, what do they call them? Yeah, come and look at it. They all had different views of what they think would be good or to do or whatever. And one of them raised the flag that they were concerned that that tree in their center of it might be hollow, and that could cause another problem if you start doing something with it, or how much do you want to spend if it couldn't be saved. I didn't know, but there is a master of the master of the masters in this. The guy happened to be, I think, in the Huntsville market, and they come in and assess the tree and actually figure out if the center is okay and what have you. And they don't do the work. They simply write, quote, a prescription of what ideally it would take. So we're just getting that information. It dropped in my email since we've been up here. So we'll get it printed out so you know more about it. But it's certainly phases that we could pick to do that. I know he did say that he's concerned that the dead wood in the top of the big tree was going to need to be really removed pretty quick. He's concerned that something could fall. So we'll get on that part right away. But I'll read through and see what all he said. But it appears that the tree is salvageable, I believe. Of course, it's going to
tell us once upon a time how old that was. I was curious.
Yeah, I don't know. His position is it was certainly, if it wasn't there, it was probably at least planted when in the 30s, whenever when they reworked it. It's possible that it was there before. I don't understand all that stuff, but they said that there can be some deception of time when you've been deprived of water and asphalt have been put up and, all these things. So in other words, the tree may not have grown as much as it would have grown. So to look at it and say, basically, that's a 200-year-old tree, if it had just been out in the forest unimpeded, it's a different assessment than roads being paved, concrete being put. He felt sure it was at least as old as the courthouse being redone, probably some older than that. But that's the last of the older trees, obviously, that are here on the grounds. The magnolias and stuff in general are healthy. Doesn't think that the Bradford pear is a proper tree. There are a lot of problems with splitting and tearing up stuff. Anyway, everybody's got one, knows it. And then the other one has got quite a bit of disease in it. That's over in the corner. His recommendation, I think, is probably that it'd be just as well to remove it. But the magnolias look correct, and they need some attention, but they're not critical. And then, like I said, the main thing was, can we salvage that main tree? And I think he's got a path for us to look at. We just figure out from there what it costs them.
Well, in this plan, if there is a removal of trees, will there be also a process of maybe replanting some?
Yeah, I think that's something that, again, would take input from the committee or the group or the commission, however you would want to say that, as to what type tree would you want to put back there? Would it be more appropriate to try to gain some grass itself? Because now some of these, where the tree is, no grass grow around it either. So, but we'll look at that certainly when the time, when we get a little bit further with it. And so,
yeah, absolutely.
I just got it. But originally they were concerned that the center was hollow, which I don't do this for a living. But they were talking about one of the teams that come out originally was concerned that if you start cutting and you throw the balance off of that tree, if the center is hollow, then you could cause the tree to fall. And it makes sense. Somebody says it like that, but just cut a few limbs off. I thought it'd make the tree stand better, but maybe not if you had some other problems. So that was one of the big reasons why it was appropriate to bring this guy in and let him write what needs to be done. He's not the one doing the work. That's probably the fairest way for us to get a value of what it's going to cost to do the phases if we go forward from there. Okay, thank you.
I did have.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so apparently we had excess money left over from where we did Cartwright Elementary.
Okay.
And apparently that could be spent on whatever projects that would be necessary.
Okay.
I noticed in last month's project list we had, it said the sports field lighting is being engineered for multiple schools and expected to start the bid process at 15. 25, which was last week.
Okay.
But at the school board meeting, it appeared all that's done and they're starting work. Is that a true statement?
I don't know, but you're asking for the timeline. Is that what
Yeah, because when I saw it last month, I thought,
she's
well,
talking
first of all,
about?
I
The
didn't know
lighting
what it
project.
was because we've not had any discussion of that here. And then it's finalized that we're going to use the excess funding from Cartwright to put in lighting for the school. The note here said the bidding process would be on 1/15 of 25. So all of that's already in place and they're starting to work in January.
Yeah, the contracts were signed with Musco, the first week of January, 2,460,000, I believe was the number. That's for, all of Chevrolet High School, soccer, baseball, softball, football, Cascade, football, baseball, softball, and soccer, Liberty, and community.
Well, I'm certainly not arguing with that we needed the lights or whatever, but I think it's a courtesy. It would have been nice if the commission had known that we had these excess funds and that they were going to be spent. Not that I have a problem with some of this, but the transparency piece appeared to be missing to me with this, and I had an issue with that, as did some people who questioned me.
So we
about
put it
where
out
the
for
money
bid.
come from.
Yeah, we put it out for bid. We had 2 bids. There were 2 factors. One of them was right at $3 million. We had a set amount of money that we had to stay in, and that there was a timeline that the money had to be spent. So
Okay,
those were
and
the
then,
2 companies that bid on it.
and then on the savings that we had, roughly the 2.4, I know we talked about contingency before, we didn't realize we had it. So there was an escalation clause in that 43 million that we borrowed that was not used. It was a little over $1.8 million.
That
were
would be
part
a,
of the 2.4
that'd be a finance
million.
question. I'm not involved in that.
Well, you had been recording.
No, it's usually 1.5 to 2% of the project.
Mr. Mayor, if you could, I know you may not have that answer, but could we get that answer for
On what specifically the question?
contingency?
Oh, on the contingency, we can ask, finance committee, we'll ask about it. Can you somebody make me a note to remind them, to ask for that? Now, on the side of, and again, if you certainly can, revisit that or whatever, but when the money was borrowed, there was funds that were on the school side, so to speak, or were designated for school project. All that has been coming through the process on the school board side. And so the expectation that their decisions would then come back to the commission for you to validate before on funds that were already appropriated for the education side was not, I mean, you can call it transparency, and I don't mind if the commission wants to vote to say that all the decisions of the school board come back to them for final before you act on them. That's certainly
No,
something
the
that you could
point
do.
was the commission borrowed $43 million.
Correct.
So we were the ones who funded that. We were the ones who stepped up to the plate and borrowed the money.
Correct.
So whatever that money is going to be used for, I think it would only be fair for the commission to at least be included. And maybe I'm looking at it wrong.
Yeah, and I don't know if it, and I guess because I wasn't aware of it, and so I think for me as well, I think I might at least just be a heads up, maybe in the December meeting, that hey, there was excess. We're going to be utilizing that funds over in something else. It's more of, I guess, more of notification, not necessarily
I think
approval.
I think it's been in the reports along the journey of how the money was evolving or where the opportunities to address
Talking about
other
to the
needs.
financial management committee.
No, you're getting the reports.
But that
And
was my
some
point.
of that.
That particular item did not show up in the report until December. Because I
Okay.
went back and looked at it.
Okay.
And it had a bid date of 1/15.
Okay.
Then I hear that when I listen to the school board meeting, it's all a done deal.
So,
So that's where I had a little bit of concern
right.
or a little heartburn with that because first of all, didn't know we had that much in an overage. Then after I had checked on a few things, then there was a little blurb that said we could use that for something else. And then we didn't hear anything about it. And then I hear you we're moving on. That was my only concern with that. You know, where did the money come from? How did we get the overage? Because apparently the school board had requested what the final cost was of Cartwright. And I think they received that last month, but as a commission, we didn't. Commission is the one who funded it. So in my mind, we should have also been included in the loop to know that there was $43 million that we borrowed. We spent this much. We had this much over, and the school board is going to use the other for this project, which is okay. But again, for me, that I think we need to follow that timeline.
I think I don't. Again, whatever process is decided on by the commission is fine with me. I know when you and I both served on the school board, I don't believe our actions of the school board were going back and forth to the commission for validation. Yeah, whenever you borrowed the money and you established that it would go for education purposes and those things, correct? So, yeah, so I'd recommend that. Yeah, I got you. And I think for people that are throwing out, transparency things, make a motion that all those actions from the school board come back to the commission before they're acted on would be the clearest and cleanest way to make sure that your intentions are put forward so that nobody feels like somebody didn't tell somebody something. I think that's
would that go through rules?
but that's fine. Make a motion to send it to rules. I mean, however you would want to do it, asking them for all of the commission before they're acted on. I think you certainly could do it.
It's a conversation piece.
Or,
and rules.
at least the monies that we are borrowing for school projects.
Correct.
That are, that kind of money, and I think maybe we need to
Come back to the commission for
come back,
a vote. Sure.
If the commission is the one who voted it, now what they're doing with their funding, that doesn't
Agreed.
affect us, and if we, but if, in this case, we borrowed $43 million, well, what did we actually spend on Cartwright? Well, we don't know. Well, now we're going to do lighting and leftover money. Well, I didn't know that. How did you know that? And as commissioners, we get those questions, even though we're
Sure.
not on the school board, and people watch it. More people are watching these videos. I don't like to look at somebody and go, I don't know anything about that. I don't
Understood.
think that's fair to us.
Right. And again, I think the simple, straightforward.
We have to reduce that 400 per thousand.
And we did see that, but then the final dollars, we
The final
never
number,
got.
Again, I think the clearest way to go at your situation is to make a motion to send it, that it all come back to the commission for a final validation or vote before you spend
Need to go to
those
rules.
funds on the school side.
We
I'll
can
talk to the
specify what
FFC
we're-
about running that through.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't matter to me which one you run it through.
I think
I'm just
with- I
saying
think
that
with
would
that,
be the
that would
most
need to
correct
go
way
through rules.
to address your issue of having
Don't you-
the school board's actions come back to the commission.
Are you comfortable with just having a discussion with rules, Chairman?
Yeah, I will talk to them.
Okay. Would you like for us to put it on the agenda for next month?
Not yet.
Okay. All right.
Alrighty. Okay, that's all our reports. I need a motion to approve reports.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Alrighty. No other reports? Any old business? Any new business? Any announcements? Motion to adjourn.